You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We have a great show planned for you as usual. Thanks again for being on. It's, we are getting off to a little bit of a late start again today. Not sure what it is. Maybe it's just fate. Maybe it's just meant to be all the time. There's something, but we're here, and it's a miracle that we're here each and every day. With all the different technical things that could happen, it eventually ends in us going live on the air, and we're grateful to be here. So we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download us and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We are also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channels, mainly comment. We'll do our best to get them read for those listening, and for those watching, get the comments up on the screen. We usually have a lively little bunch each and every day who comment freely, and we encourage that. And if you're watching and you have something important to say, but you're just shy or nervous or whatever, I would just encourage you not to be. And this is your conversation on your station. This is your opportunity to share your news on the views on the news that we are talking about, the news stories locally and abroad, the things, the issues that we face each and every day that, affect our lives. And with that, we are going to be discussing what happened last night in council meeting and, the results of what our integrity commissioner suggested to have happen in a report for two of our councillors, what actually happened, and then also a deep dive into our country, the state that it's in, the very left-leaning way of our country, and where it's brought us and where it's going to take us if we continue on that path. And so with that, let's just dive right in this morning. Let's begin, because we are off to a little bit of a late start. We'll get going so we got enough time for your comments and all the news stories. Right after this, after some weather, stick around. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. Currently it is 12 degrees. There's a mist out there. Today, a mix of sun and cloud. Clearing near noon. Fog patches dissipating this morning. Hazy this afternoon. Wind will be moderate and high of 24. Humidex 25. Tonight, clear, hazy, and low of 14. Thursday, sunny, hazy in the morning, early in the afternoon. What's with this hazy all of a sudden anyways? But high of 26, humidex 29. So tomorrow, very, very warm. Look at your extended forecast. Again, you can see sunny, 26, 29 with the humidex tomorrow. Showers and 18 on Friday. Showers and 11 on Saturday. Getting very much cooler than we've had for a long time. And then 13 degrees and a 40% chance of showers on Sunday. 40% chance of showers on Monday. High of 16, starting to warm up again. So it's just the weekend. Just the weekend that we have low temperatures and raining. Lucky us. And then cloudy and 20 degrees on Thursday as things warm up again. So here's a look at your satellite. See that some of that precipitation that was happening right around the greater city of Sudbury, all the way almost up to Timmins. But I think that's dissipated for now. That was taken about 3.5 hours ago. That's your Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. We'll be back with news comments, your news, headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Stay tuned. And we're back. So thanks for sticking around. And with us on the show, joining us, Marianne from Barrie. Good morning, everyone. Liked and shared. Thank you very much, Marianne. Judy, good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning. And morning, Vin. Hope your morning is going swell as well. Monique, good morning to you as well. Sunshine emoji with the shade smiley face guy. One of my favorites. My daughter thinks it's cringy because I'm older or something, but I just love that emoji. It's my favorite. Anyways, thanks for sharing that. And Belinda, good morning to you as well. Life always offers you a second chance, and it's called tomorrow. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and realize your value. Heart emoji. Thank you very much for that. Very positive and very good for an otherwise gloomy day. Always good to have a positive quote in your back pocket to lift you up and let you realize that we can have a tomorrow. We don't have to live, in the past. Today is a new day. And you can make it what you want. You can do the best you can. And even if you make mistakes, it's okay. There will be a tomorrow again. So thanks for that, Belinda. Denise, blessings to myself and friends, to you as well, Denise. I appreciate it very much. Marianne, thanks for the video yesterday and keeping everyone updated. I'm trying to remember what video that might have been. Every day seems to just kind of roll into itself. Unless you're talking to somebody else there, I'm not sure. Debbie, good morning to you as well. Smiley emoji. Maurice, good morning. Smiley emoji. Estelle, good morning. Heart emoji. And Miles, good morning. Looks like council rather quiet on listening to the ethics guys report. Maybe they're trying to stay away from kickback publicity. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know what publicity anyone in the city is hoping for or afraid of. I have no idea. But it is what it is. And here is the story right from Sudbury.com, right from our Sudbury.news news aggregator. No financial penalties. This is from Tyler Clark, one of our favorite reporters. No financial penalties for two censured city council members, neither Ward 7 Councillor Natalie Labie or Ward 12 Councillor Jocelyn Landry Altman will receive financial consequences for alleged code of conduct violations, which they both steadfast deny. Okay, so that's the headline from Sudbury.com. And yes, I kind of figured that. Yes, that was for Monique. That's Marianne for sure. And again, I can't tell on my switcher if somebody is having a conversation with another participant. So I apologize for that if there's ever confusion. From the video, the outcome was already decided before it even happened. Okay, so now you got me curious. If it's in the comments from yesterday's show, I'll have to go and check it out. So here you go. Here's a picture of the two accused, if you will, accused of doing different things. And that's what they were discussing amongst other things in last night's meeting, right? Ward 12 Councillor Jocelyn Landry Altman and Ward 7 Councillor Natalie Labie were let off with reprimands, carrying no financial penalties by two near unanimous votes of City Council. The only dissenting vote was that of Ward 11 Councillor Bill Leduc on Labby's penalties. He was the one, remember, who complained in the first place, right? So obviously he's not going to vote that they just get reprimanded. He's out for a pound of flesh, apparently, which he wanted to enhance. Okay. In 2 near unanimous votes of City Council, the City Council's elected officials opted against docking Ward 7 Councillor Natalie Labby and Ward 12 Councillor Jocelyn Landry Altman 20 days' pay. Landry Altman faced the penalty for various alleged violations of the city's code of conduct during a public meeting in April, at which City Integrity Commissioner David Boghossian accused her of being a prime example of a councillor supporting the not in my backyardism in its most offensive and vitriolic form. I love that vitriolic word. And Labby, Boghossian said, publicly maligned city CAO Ed Archer, quote unquote, to distance herself from last year's wage hike in order to salvage her own political fortunes. Quite the wording there. I believe David Boghossian could have a career in writing books after his stint with the city. With wording like that. So the vitriolic and salvage her own political fortunes. I don't know if a city councillor could be looked at as in that way, but I would think maybe if you're provincial or federal. But anyways, it could be political fortunes even locally. Every politician's creed, deny. That's Belinda. Marianne says, I wouldn't trust anyone sitting in those seats. And there you go. Belinda is agreeing. So that's our sentiment about politicians in general, right? Like it's hard these days to have anybody you can kind of get behind. And if you felt you could, you'd be very suspicious of your own feelings, probably, of why am I trusting this person? There's something wrong. There must be something wrong because you can't trust any of them, right? So it's a kind of weird thing. What if there was a particular person you could trust? It would be hard these days. That's what I mean. It's bizarre, crazy where we've gotten ourselves. There's a lot of salad words tossed around in that meeting. There you go. So some of you have watched the meeting, which I'm very proud of. So Boghossian recommended that both city council members face a 20-day pay cut as penalties for their code of conduct violations. Instead, a near unanimous city council voted last night to bring the 2 members' sentences down to written reprimands. So they're going to get written reprimands. And Nana, good morning to you. Blessings, everyone. Just wanted to say that I watched the council meeting last night and was pleased with the results for Natalie. And once again, Mr. Leduc tried to sneak in his agenda. Okay. Again, you guys, I'm so impressed that you're watching the meeting. I think the more people, or at least get educated and informed and get involved by participating and watching what's going on, at least your opinion means a lot more because you were there, right? Kind of thing. So Debbie says, Ed Archer is a total snake in the grass. And I can definitely tell your sentiments here, guys. So money dictates. That's Denise. And she should personally sue him. That's what Marianne is saying. Sue him. So I'm not sure if Natalie should sue Bill Leduc, or I'm thinking that's what you're thinking or saying. Yeah, and again, the only dissenting vote was in one of these motions was Bill Leduc, Ward 11 councillor, who wanted Labby to face an even stiffer penalty. He later voted in favor of the final motion to proceed with a written reprimand. Although off the hook financially, Tuesday's meeting did not afford Landry Altman or Labby vindication. It's still a reprimand, Mayor Paul Lefebvre told Sudbury.com following Tuesday's meeting, adding that although wrongdoing has been acknowledged, the fact this was the first-time offense for both members factioned heavily into their decision against a financial penalty. So I guess the next time will be the stiffer penalty if you do something again. Good morning to you, Mona. Thanks for being on. And Liette as well from Collingwood. Good morning, Liette. So Belinda says, when the time comes, and it will come, any member of the council that participated in any criminal activity will be held accountable. They will not be able to walk the streets. I love that. I love that sentiment. I think I'm all for that. Again, right? If you have integrity and you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to hide, and you have integrity. So you'll say, bring it on. Transparency all the way, right? For everything. Marianne says the counselor who made up the lies and tries to tarnish one's character and reputation. That's who you would hope that Natalie sues. And Debbie says, so if there's an integrity commissioner that says okay or not okay, then what do we need a mayor and council for? Good point. Good point. You just need the integrity commissioner king of the city. Marianne, yep. So that's who you would want to. So again, somebody's encouraging you, Natalie, to sue. I don't know. How would that play out, you know? Part of the consequences is that both city council members have had to deal with the contents of Boghossian's report in the public space, Lefebvre said. So public scrutiny. And so that comes with, already a punishment of his own in the public courts. So where city council members voted to proceed with integrity commissioners' recommended pay cut sanctions in the past, it wasn't their first brush with alleged code of conduct violations. Neither city council member expressed remorse during Tuesday's meeting, nor apologized for the alleged infractions Boghossian outlined in his report, as the report itself recommended they do. So we've gone over Boghossian's report and what he was alleging for Landry Altman, with the April 8th Flour Mill Community Action Network meeting, and that she engaged in the breach of 4 fundamental tenets of democracy, which are enshrined in the CAN terms of engagement and standard operating proceedings, right? Recommending the 20 days without pay. And says that she has employed shameful conduct, attempting to use any frivolous technicality she could latch onto to undermine or discredit or even bury Boghossian's report on her alleged misconduct altogether, so her conduct would not be exposed. At one point after his report was drafted, Boghossian relayed that Landry Altman directed the city clerk not to circulate his report, which is in itself another breach of the code of conduct. During Tuesday's meeting, Landry Altman said that she was simply standing up for the area residents. She closed her remarks by apologizing to area residents for not doing a better job as a municipality to offer services with a better outcome, in reference to the area residents' complaints about the Sudbury Center for Transitional Care. That's what the whole thing was about, right? They didn't want that in their backyard. And I don't think a lot of people would. I don't think that's a far-fetched thing to not want around your home or your family, right? Even though we do care about individuals going through this, there It's not a clean kind of thing. It's not a cut and dry thing. People who struggle and are in a situation where their lives are impacted by opioid consumption and they are addicted and they are struggling, sometimes do things that even they themselves, if they were not on these substances, would not do. And so it's hard to have in your backyard. So again, I'm getting the comments here up on the screen, just welcoming those who are joining us. We're talking about the two counselors facing their peers last night and what came out of it for Jocelyn Landry Altman and for Natalie Labbe. And good morning, Jerome, from beautiful Kagawang. We have a mayor? ? Okay. That's hilarious. And Debbie's saying we have a liberal puppet. Possibly, right? Well, we know was a liberal MP, so unless change their political leanings, we definitely have a liberal mayor. There's no doubt about it. There's just no doubt about that. Good for Natalie Labbe doubling down on the CAO. That's Miles. And Belinda says, never trusted the mayor after he stated he never heard of smart cities. So much lies and corruption. It's true. I got the same little feeling, though, when Mike said he never heard of chemtrails either. I thought that was interesting when he was on the show. It's like, yeah, you're going to have to get with the times. I think there's smart cities, chemtrails, the WEF's statement that they've infiltrated most of Trudeau's cabinet, things like that. Like, you just can't turn a blind eye to these things. It just is what it is. So there's chemtrails. It is what it is. Find out what they are. Look into it. Maybe you can't do anything about it, which you probably can't. You probably can't do anything about it from your position as city councilor. So admitting something's there, saying it's an international thing or a federal thing, and encourage us to write to our MPs, about that. It's not a city thing. These planes are not coming out of the city airport and funded by the city, and so again, just acknowledging that they're there. You drive to work, you have a sky above your head too, and you look up and you see lines all across the sky. It's not just me or not just any people that admit it. It's there for everyone to see, hidden in plain sight, as they say. So I guess the new politician, if they want to continue the old ways, will have to at least acknowledge what people know as facts, to at least give some credibility to what they're saying. But you can still deflect. Like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. You can still deflect and say, yeah, they're there. I have no idea why they're there, who put them there. They are definitely there, though. But we can look into it. But what can we do about it? There's another thing that you could say as a politician. But don't deny something that's true, like a smart city. Never heard of a smart city. Well, it's easy. Just Google it, And you would think, being a mayor, and there's pushes to make your city a smart city, because there is a push to make all cities smart cities, you'd want to be up on that. You would think, right? But anyways, I digress. We digress. Natalie Labbe, what happened with her, right? Boghossian's investigation of Labbe centered on her actions earlier this year in reaction to last year's wage increases for non-union municipal managers. And we've talked about that at length. So if you're wondering which Mike I was referring to, it would be Mike Parent, Ward 5 counselor who was on the show 2 weeks ago. And yeah, so since then, though, I'm sure might have looked into it because I think it was Belinda. It could have been somebody else from watching the show who said that they would email a bunch of information just to educate the understanding of what we were talking about. So just got a message from Bob here on my phone. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't something for the show. Last year, CAO Ed Archer boosted the pay of non-union managers in pay groups 15 to 18. That's the groups by 6 to 8%. He followed through with delegated authority, a unanimous vote of city councilor that they afforded him. Basically said you have carte blanche, you can do whatever you want using a city council approved range to increase wages after they'd fallen behind a list of accepted municipalities, compared municipalities in wages, right? So our wages in Sudbury compared to similar cities around Canada, that's the reason why he said he gave them raises. Natalie was saying at the time, though, the optics of that wasn't great as food bank usage was going through the roof, inflation was going through the roof. We have a housing crisis. People can't afford to live. And then just the optics of that at the time weren't the greatest. Labby's response was critical, including an open letter in which she said if she were CAO, she would resign over the wage hike issue. So very interesting there that there's now going to be a letter basically that's handed to them about the of their what they were accused of doing. Basically, they said, yeah, you guys were in the wrong, so you're going to get a letter basically telling you you're in the wrong. Sudbury.com goes on to say that she criticized Sudbury.com's reporting on the matter, creating a situation where I've personally been taking a great hit to my reputation in the quest of what the truth behind what council was told and when, and for casting her in a negative light. This is Tyler Clark kind of speaking to Natalie Labby and to people reading this, which I think is interesting. You don't see this often in the news, a news reporter writing, that they're basically back and forth in the media. This is interesting. I also want to take time to address how difficult it is as a woman in politics to speak. Okay, so let's see. So Natalie Labby says, I also want to take the time to address how difficult it is as a woman in politics to speak up and be made to look like a fool. And also have the local media feeding into this, she added. No matter what the outcome is today, I know I have the support of so many, and you can bet that I will continue to speak up and hold people accountable as necessary, because that's what I was elected to do. Although Labby told Sudbury.com prior to the meeting that she had a bombshell she'd drop depending on how things would go, nothing in her statement to council seemed to fit that description. Well, maybe she had a bombshell if something was going to come out where she was told she had to apologize publicly to see the CAO, or she was told she was going to have the 20-day pay cut, right? So interesting to know she's got a bombshell anyways, ready to go in her suitcase. Just make sure not to drop your suitcase on the way to work each and every day. Now, in other news, as they say, grateful that whatever came of the meeting last night, I think I'm happy with the results. And, the state of the country, and people have made many statements about politicians and politics and the country and why it is the way it is and the way we go about governing, right? Why are we in the situation we are? Has your life been so good lately? It's never been better? Or have things been hard? And could there have been ways to prevent how hard it's been, you know, if things were done a little bit differently? I don't know. We asked these questions. Trudeau was in the Sioux last week, and he was confronted by one of the workers of Algoma Steel, who I think speak for many Canadians, right? But first, let's hear from Pierre Poilievre, who's speaking about how we got where we're at, and then we'll say, well, that's Poilievre. He's so full of one-liners and all these things. Well, let's then hear from an actual person afterwards just to see if people are saying the same thing Poilievre is saying, right?
We are seeing record amount of strikes across Canada, with last year alone having 6.5 million days not worked by employees. So if you think there's a lot of strikes, it's because there is a 360% increase, to be exact. This information can easily be found on the Government of Canada's website. Let's hear from Pierre Poilievre explain why there are so many strikes in Canada right now. Let's go.
Well, I wouldn't have had to do that in this case. The reason that we have these strikes is because of inflation. We had last year the largest number of days lost to strike since 1986. What did we have in 1986? Inflation. Inflation leads to strikes because workers and unions have to fight to get back what they lost in purchasing power. Well, how did the inflation happen? The government doubled the debt. Justin Trudeau printed $700 billion of cash. He increased the money supply by 40%, while the real economy grew by 4%. When you add money 10 times faster than you add the stuff that money buys, then you get inflation. And that screws over workers because they live off wages. If you're a billionaire, like the people Trudeau vacations with, then you don't have to worry about inflation because your assets are inflation proof or even inflation positive. You get richer. It's a transfer of wealth from the have-nots to the have-yachts. And you know what? It's ironic. It's all done with Jagmeet Singh's support. He can huff and puff all he wants, but he supported the inflationary policies that destroyed the wages of working class people, and he supports what Justin Trudeau did on the rail strike. Do you know how we know? Do you know how we know that? Do you know how we know that? No. Do you know how we know that that Jagmeet supports it? Because he's still in a coalition with him. And if Jagmeet didn't support it, he would respond to my letter this afternoon and say he's pulling out of the costly coalition and he's going to vote to bring down Trudeau and cause a carbon tax election. And that's what I'm calling for him to do today. Jagmeet Singh, stop selling out the workers. Stop being sellout Singh. Put the people ahead of your pension. Vote for a carbon tax election now.
Everything that
He does have some good campaign slogans, though, you have to admit. Good at marketing, and I think the other side doesn't like that. Just something I noticed as a PR person. He definitely is good at making catchy phrases that actually resonate. Now, that bothers people that don't particularly subscribe to that political point of view. That bothers them because it's a good point he makes, right? They'd love it if it was on their side. And that's just true. That's just the way people are because we're biased. But you got to admit that he's very good at speaking. He's very good at the art of the argument. Someone who's not very good at that, though, is our current leader. And he was in Sault Ste. Marie just speaking to some of these people who could very well go on strike, right? These are just everyday average workers from Algoma Steel. And one of them confronts Trudeau here.
Hey, I'm fine. Just one
to the Sioux again. Well, we got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Hey, The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steel is going to help you out.
That's going to keep my job, yeah. What about the 40% taxes I'm paying, and I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invested in the card means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
Well, that's what elections are for.
That's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
And the basic choice, we're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care? Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years behind.
You have a job and coverage?
Yeah,
but we
4
got
people
seniors.
in my family.
We've got
Every
seniors.
time we go for a dental visit, it's costing me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Justin.
Well, actually, we just invested so 500,000 people who hadn't been to the dentist got to go to the dentist over the past few months.
Probably like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
Well,
She
you know
just
what?
doesn't go to work. She lives the same
Most
life I do.
Canadians try to stick up for each other, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
luck and take care of your family, sir.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day, sir. All right, the other guys they got the donuts. Excellent.
They got the donuts.
FBI. I was an FBI agent from December 10, 1951.
So I really like to see just real life interactions, politicians with people, where it's not a script that they're reading off a teleprompter. You really see how a person, if an everyday average person can just question a leader of a country like that and just go toe to toe and it be filmed, I think that needs to happen a little bit more. I think politicians should have to do like 10 hours a month or something where they just go out and it has to be random. It can't be set up and whatever, which you'd question anyways, right? It's so far gone that how could you ever change certain things? But I'd really like to just have everyday average people interactions recorded. And so people can just see for themselves more than just maybe one-liners. And people complain about Pierre Poilievre and his talking points, if you will, if you're not on that side. But he does go out and talk to people and it is filmed and you can see that. And he does a fairly good job compared to what we just saw, right? I think that's the sentiment of a lot of Canadians. And I don't know, this just popped up on my feed today and I thought, this is from before with Pierre Elliott Trudeau. The Liberal Prayer. This is an old one. So it says, the Liberal Prayer. Trudeau is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down on park benches. He leadeth me beside still factories. He restoreth my faith in the Conservative Party. He guideth me in the path of unemployment. Yea, though I walk through the valley of soup kitchens, I shall be hungry. He hath anointed my income with taxes. My expense runneth over. Surely poverty and hardship shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall be in a rented house forever. I am glad that I am Canadian, and glad that I am free. I wish I was a little dog, and Trudeau was a tree. Anyways, a little bit of humor there. The Liberal Prayer. I think many of us can relate, whether we're liberal or conservative or any other type of party, to that, because the state of our economy, and Poilievre very eloquently set out why we are and put an argument forward anyways, whether someone believes it or not, in some of the reasons why we've had inflation the way that we do, right? So you print money, it's economics 101. Print a lot of money in a short period of time, you're going to have inflation. And if that's your way with dealing with the economic problems that we have, you're going to cause inflation. Everyone told him that. When he said the budget is going to balance itself, that should have been a super red flag. He said that before he was elected, but people elected him because of his hair and because he was going to legalize pot. Now look at the situation our country's in. I mean, that's what you get, right? So, and here's Natalie on here. I can assume there is no bombshell. Oh, I can assure you there is no bombshell that was taken way out of context by Tyler Clark, just like he wrote about the people wearing purple, my election sign's color, and that I'm a mean girl. He actually made reference to that in his report released right before the council meeting. Women have a hard enough time in politics, and now the media is going to add to the misogyny. When I asked Tyler about if he said he thought it was a fun reference, Mean Girls, really? Nothing about this situation is funny, I can assure you. Well, thanks, Natalie, for chiming in. And just for the record, Tyler is more than invited to the show. Like he's more than welcome to come on the show. I definitely invite him. And this is an interesting thing, like I said, to write in your report. Like, you're a reporter. You shouldn't get personal as a reporter. I'm not a reporter. I'm a news personality talking about the news. I think this is the medium, if you will, where Tyler should be if he wants to do journalism in that way, right? That's his opinion. So if he wants to come on, give his opinion, listen to other people's opinions, I think maybe his future should be in doing something like this with podcasts. Because, again, as a reporter, he shouldn't really be going to battle with other people in his writing. He's in a place of privilege of having a news organization where he is supposed to be unbiased and not supposed to be going toe to toe with someone with his opinion there. That's just, again, and with all due respect, I appreciate any reporter and the hard work that they do, but it's just not right to do that. And so, yeah, if you want to, maybe this show is a great opportunity, Tyler, if you want to come on and share your opinion. Maybe we can have Natalie on as well. And I'm sure people would love to have that conversation in the public rather than in a publication that's supposed to be unbiased. They're just supposed to get the facts from that, right? But I just wanted to show a little bit of what's, the kind of ideologies that are behind politics, because we seem to be going on this theme anyways today. And I just came across this as well about the state of our country and the state of how we're not able to protect ourselves because of this political leanings, these really far left leanings. But I just wanted to kind of show it for what it is, and how we get to where we're going. Just listen to some of the concepts about self-defense here.
Now, this is an older clip, but it is very relevant to what's happening today. This is a clip of Justin Trudeau talking about what our rights are when it comes to firearms in Canada.
A culture where the difference is guns can be used for hunting or for sport shooting in Canada, and there's lots of gun owners, and they're mostly law-respecting and law-abiding. But you can't use a gun for self-protection in Canada. That's not a right that you have in the Constitution or anywhere else. If you try and buy a gun and say it's for self-protection, no, you don't get that. You get it for hunting. You can get it for sport shooting. You can take it to the range, no problem, as long as you go through our rigorous background checks. But there's a difference around the culture.
And that's even become very limiting these days. Now, this clip from this show Zoomer, which I'll make the entire show available. Link will be in the description down below. You can watch it in its entirety. But this was shared out by the CCFR recently. Watch highlights from Canadian TV show discussing self-defense laws in Canada, including what is reasonable versus what is permissible to defend oneself. Pay close attention to the words of advocate Hanya. I won't be able to pronounce that, and audience member Michael. This is really interesting. Let's go over some of this.
What does the law say about self-defense in Canada? When are Canadians permitted to use force to defend themselves?
Right. Well, in Canada, we have the right to defend ourselves, our loved ones. We have the right to defend our property, but it's solely for the purpose of defense, defending yourself. You have to be reasonable. So a judge...
Wait a minute. What's reasonable?
What's reasonable is...
Someone breaks into your home in the night.
Right. Right. Well, if it's a bunch of teenagers who break into your home, they don't have any weapons, and you go after them with a golf club, that's no longer reasonable. You're now using excessive force against
But
those
how are you
teenagers.
supposed to know that they don't have any weapons?
You don't, oftentimes you don't. And you're right, it's a very difficult situation. But you have to remember, at some point, a judge is going to scrutinize your behavior and what you did. And some of the questions a judge is going to ask, for example, what was the nature of the threat or force? How imminent was the threat? Did you have other options? Did you have to go at the person with a baseball bat or a golf club in that scenario? They will look at what other options were open to you.
So this is really what's wrong here. In Canada, this is literally how they look at it. You need to be thinking about what a judge is going to think when you're reacting to a situation within your own home. Within your own home, someone's broken into your home. You got to worry about, well, are they armed? I don't know. I don't have time to check. Hey, Mr. Robert. Hey, what kind of weapons did you bring in with you? Because a judge may ask later. Now, of course, famously, we've seen some sheriffs in the United States. Here's one sheriff basically laying it out. Well, this is his recommendation if somebody tries to break into your home.
But we have received information in social media that some of the criminals were going to take their criminal conduct into the neighborhoods. I would tell them, if you value your life, you probably shouldn't do that in Polk County, because the people of Polk County like guns. They have guns. I encourage them to own guns, and they're going to be in their homes tonight with their guns loaded. And if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with their guns.
And that's the way it is in.
Yeah, so that's the two sides, right? And I think we need to be having more public discussions with, we're always talking about changing laws and things. I think we are changing laws, but I don't think we're changing them to the benefit of people. I think we need to be looking more at this type of thing. And in Canada, I noticed when I lived in the United States for a couple of years, came back here, and I was like, yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen the benefits of that kind of ideology. Like, we're afraid of them here. I don't know. I think it's been propagandized for so long, the idea of this conversation, and people are just afraid to even suggest that it could be a good thing, that it could keep people more safe to think in this way of self-defense. But what the opposite is weird. It's just bizarre. It's like when you go down that road, someone breaks into your home, you can't use any more force than what they have. So how can you truly defend somebody if you're equal in force? You know what I mean? And they go on, and I would encourage, this is Clyde, do something, look it up, watch the entire video. It's such a great debate from Zoomer TV. And it's just, again, it's just this whole ideology way of looking at the world, a world view that eventually, if you continue thinking, it's like broken thinking. In my point of view, the argument is very easily settled if you just keep talking about it and keep seeing and keep revealing the detrimental effects of talking like the way Canada uses its self-defense laws, the way that we have them written, the way that we uphold them. It's just not good. It's not good for anyone. Even bear spray is illegal, they say. They come out in here and show the different weapons and stuff. So it's craziness. And eventually it's just going to be, and then they have, people defending it. It's just, anyways, you could be on any side of it. You can already tell what side I'm on. And it's because I've given it a lot of thought. A lot of thought. And that's why I've come to the conclusion I have. And I think open discussions about this kind of thing, more open discussions about all kinds of stuff, is the way to get to the bottom of things. Asking questions, listening to the answers of the questions from both sides, so that way you can determine what side you are on. And again, in a free country, it would be good to at least believe both sides, but I would hope the fundamental laws are there to protect somebody against criminals, just as a basic right. They're talking about, you don't have a basic right to defend yourself, really. Or you do, but it's just the way you defend yourself. You can't even harm someone else in defending your family from danger. You'll get sued. anyways, it is what it is. I know I opened a can of worms right at the end of the show here, but I didn't know if I would have time to fit it in any other show. But that's all the time we have now. Appreciate the discussions we've had. I think we've had a great discussion today. A lot of things have come out, and appreciate you. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow, same platforms, and stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everyone. Happy Hump Day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.
Is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.